Well, let's consult the Bible. Well, by Bible I mean the service manual, not the Clymer Haynes crap, but the real factory service manual. That's how I found that the Aspencades 82 and up have a actual gear position indicator, and that's what we're looking at. I actually bought this particular gear shift indicator, the position indicator, off eBay. Now I'm gonna test it. Spent another $3 or $4. Bought off an eBay from China a little LED indicator that shows the gear, 1, neutral, all the way up to 5. I think that was my original plan, but I think I'm changing my mind how I'm gonna do it. So anyhow, I'm just trying to hook it up according to the pinouts, but I think I was twisting the shift position indicator in the wrong way. Actually, maybe in the right one. Anyway, we'll see later that it's not matching up with the gears how I set it up here. So everything checks out. The setup should work great. Now let's go to the garage, get the actual, yep, that's the one, works, and that's where the neutral should be, kinda according to the manual. So now let's steer into the front cover, get the oil out. Need to remove the water pump. I'll probably change that, especially if I destroy it like I destroyed it removing from the new style cover that I got off eBay. So in 82 the Honda switched from the style that I have. My engine is 81. There is just a neutral switch into this style that sits in the front cover, not on the side of the engine. So I'll have to hack up some things here. But first I need to open this up so I can see the end of the shift drum and see how we can hack this all in there together. So oil filter is out. The engine is filled with nice clean oil, but it leaks in a couple places. So this is where the water pump lives. I'm trying to get that part off. And it's probably a good idea to change the water pump because I have no clue if the previous owner who tried to restore this bike and this engine did change it or it's original. About what, 40 years old. So if you're changing the water pump, make sure you're getting the older style with the metal impeller, because the new plastic impeller types tend to disintegrate, and actually the impeller kind of separates itself from the shaft in there. That's how the water pump was in the cover I got off eBay. So the front cover is held on by a bunch of 10mm bolts, and some of them are quite rusty. I don't think anyone was in here by the looks of those bolts. So yeah, the water pump is original to the bike. I'm just guessing. Couple more. Yeah, just looking around, make sure I don't miss any of those bolts, because usually those covers are caked on there tight. There we go, missed one. Now that all the bolts are off, I'm just trying to tap it out nicely. Don't want to kind of get the screwdriver in there or something and try to pry it off because it's mating surfaces and aluminum is soft. So yeah, just take your time. Since the bolts are all rusted, it's probably the kind of the guide pins or whatever you call them are also rusty, and everything is tight in there. Well, eventually I had to get in with the screwdriver to pry it off. I think I found a good spot where it wasn't pulling on the mating surface. So here it is, the front cover is off. Now we can see this whole shift assembly in all of its glory up in there. It's kind of funny. It makes, I think, 2 90-degree angles from the shift lever into the shift mechanism. but I guess Honda did a good job and it works. So here it is, the new style shift drum with the kind of shift fingers. Well, not shift fingers, with the fingers that turn the gear position indicator in the front cover. That should be at the end of the shift drum assembly. So yeah, they kind of go in, go in the case, and then those fingers go in there and kind of turn them. But the old style is quite different from the new, right, where all the shift mechanism followers ride look different, look a little bit different spacing. So I don't think if I wanted to, I can just change the shift drum. Well, to get to the shift drum, you need to split the cases, and I don't want to do that. So we'll have to hack in those shift fingers, like that piece, onto the old style shifter somehow. Well, on the drum. So the new one is made out of the new style is made out of a bunch of little parts. It all comes apart, can be taken apart. And you see the old style, as I take all the followers, it's not designed to be taken apart. I think it's machined as one unit, versus the newer style is comprised out of two. The shift drum, where the shift forks around, and this end with the turning mechanism, and the follower and indents for gear positions, and the neutral. So to make myself some room and easier to work on these things, just taking off all these little bits and pieces that turn around. Eventually I'll have to crack that screw in front to get it apart and see if it comes apart, because like in the service manual, this is the shift drum is one assembly. It's not shown into being, disassembled. I guess not serviceable. You have to replace the whole unit. Yeah, the shift actuator is in the way, but I decided not to take it apart. I can just move it out of the way. So here we go. We need to get that screw out of there without taking the whole drum assembly off. So the manual impact driver is a very good tool. If you don't have one, get one. It's saved my ass multiple times, especially if you're working like on older cars and bikes, rusted fasteners everywhere. That thing works magic. Yeah, I took out so many screws, especially on all the Yamaha I have. For some reason, it was thought to be a very good idea to use a bunch of kind of Phillips head. I think they called Japanese industrial standard, something like that. Phillips looking screws on a bunch of older bikes. So that's how far the shift drum comes apart. The pins are like indents, how much you rotate the shift drum, and the front piece, the little follower cam. Here I'm trying to measure how much actual space I have, if I have enough clearance to bolt on those little fingers up on front here, and putting the cover and the shift indicator mechanism in there, if there is enough space to put the cover back on. They only have a digital caliper. Battery is dead. I don't have a new battery, so I can't measure. So I had to kind of lock the caliper at the depth I think I have measured from the mating surface to the end of the shift drum, and now try to see if I can squeeze it in. By the looks of it, the actual this indicator will fit there no problem, but there is no space. You can see it will clear with probably half a millimeter clearance in there, but there is no place to put those fingers in and put in a screw or bolt in there in between. So plan B, I need to figure out how to attach it in there more permanently. So first of all, I need to figure out where the actual neutral position is. So everything goes back together. I'll try to put in the new style case in there with the indicator sender unit in there, and actually align everything and make sure I can go through the gears and the gears show the correct gear. So I'm gonna hook up the battery now to this and actually see that it makes a good connection through the ground, through the case, and actually put the indicator into the neutral position so I can try to align my makeshift mechanism on the shift fork, on the shift drum actually, so we can put the right those forks in the right position. So yeah, I'm just kind of putting it on where I think they should be, kinda. Yep, based on the angle gauge, so they kind of be like this somewhat. I know there is no space to put the cover, so the cover will be kind of on the bolts, at least in the position, but not tight to the engine. So that's the plan, and make sure I can go through all the gears, and neutral is neutral, first is first, and goes all the way up to fifth and shows the correct gear. So just trying to pick a couple bolts where to put them, actually longer bolts than they're supposed to be. I don't know why Honda chose to put the kind of that wire coming out at the top, and it gets wedged in right under the timing belts. There's another cover there, no space, but I guess they wanted to put it really at the top, not through the side. Although this space is kind of the crankcase full of oil, but the oil is not under pressure, so they could have gone through the side. So here we go. We kind of put the cover in position. Now we're gonna test if the gears show. Still, hey, it's neutral. So now let's shift gears and see if actually I think my indicator is upside down. Yeah, I think 3 and 1 are switched or something like that. Yeah, like I said in the beginning, I think I was turning this indicator in the wrong direction while I was setting up on the bench. So now I have to switch back the gears and find kind of switch 1 and 3, because I think 2 was 2. So here we go again. 4. Couple gears are still in the wrong spot. Well, not the actual gears, but my wiring to this indicator. 2, 3. Yep, I'm missing third. In here I thought there was something wrong with my alignment, but as I later find out after removing the cover again, that in switching these wires I made the two of them touch, and that's why I couldn't see the third gear on the indicator. Again, taking it off. Yeah, it feels like I spent a lot of time in testing all these things, but that's how you go at building anything from scratch or semi-scratch, trying to kind of hack things together. I have my hand in the way you can't see, but everything goes in the right order. It's just not showing. Yeah, there is nothing where 3 should be. That got me puzzled for a couple minutes, and then like, oh look, it's shorted over there, and now, hey, 3 is back. Cool. I'm gonna put this back to neutral and stick the cover back on and make sure we can run through all the gears and those fingers to turn this indicator sending unit are in the right place, and figure out how to attach them to the follower disc that's on the end of the shift drum assembly. Yeah, it just has to be kind of in place. I think I just wanted to hold it on better. In the previous test it was wobbling around. Looking for bolts. There we go. I think we're about ready to test. Yeah, let's hook the power back on. Here we go. Go flip some gears. Again, it's upside down. Well, since I'm looking at it from the top, looks good to me. Now I decided to show it to you guys. Where we are, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Neutral is also there, so hooray, that works. So here's how it is. I need it to be in that kind of position. Unfortunately, there are not enough space to hold it there, so I decide to kind of cut off those ears and weld them on. You know, doesn't need much, there's no torque in there, so kind of tack them in place and that should do the trick. But this should have been my kind of first clue. My hacksaw couldn't cut the metal. You know, it's either some very good quality Japanese steel from the 80s, or it's hardened or something like that, you know, because once I start welding this, once the kind of the puddle develops, it just blows all over the place. Seems like I lose all the shielding gas. It just burns, sparks flying everywhere. Just those two pieces of metal just refused to fuse together. So in the end, I ended up kind of ruining both pieces. You know, it's kind of fixable. Now that I've seen how the new style shift drum works and the old one, just probably need to get an old one for eBay again and probably make my own setup, but turns out I can't weld, so need to figure out some other way to fasten it on without losing the clearance I need in there. So here we go, we're gonna attempt to weld this on. Kind of go in a position like this. Okay, go get the welder. There we go. So all we need is tack it on place. You know, I'm just learning. I'm not a big welder. Maybe if I had, 10 years experience in welding pipes somewhere, this will be no problem. But, I managed to plug a couple of holes in the frame that were rusted out, bridge, quite a big gaps, everything was fine. But yeah, these pieces didn't want to fuse together. It just burned. So here we go. I have to go with plan B somehow.